第一章，问候 greeting someone. Hello.
Hi.
Hello there.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Good evening.
Evening. How are you?
How are things with you?
How's everything?
How are things going with you? How do you do?
Howdy.
It's been a long time.
Haven't seen you for ages.
Haven't seen you for some time.
Haven't run into you for ages.
Long time no see.
Fancy meeting you here.
What a pleasant surprise.
That's a pleasant surprise. 询问姓名 asking someone's name.
Your name, please.
What's your full name?
What's your name, please?
May I have your name?
May I know your name?
Would you give me your name?
Could you give me your name, please?
Who shall I say?
Are you?
Are you called?
Are you?
Is your name? I believe you're, aren't you?
I presume. What's your family name?
What's your last name? 见面介绍 Making an introduction.
This is.
Here's.
Meet.
Do you know each other? Have I introduced you to?
Do you know?
Have you met?
I want you to meet.
I'd like you to meet.
May I introduce?
Allow me to introduce.
Please let me introduce.
May I present?
Perhaps I could introduce.
I'd like to introduce.
I'm honored to present.
I'm very pleased to present.
It's with great pleasure that I introduce you to.
Hi, I'm.
How do you do? I don't believe we've met.
I don't think we've met. My name is.
Hello, this is.
Hello, here.
Hello, speaking. Allow me to introduce myself.
May I introduce myself?
Please let me introduce myself. Excuse me,
Excuse me, my name's.
I'm honored to meet you.
It's a privilege to know you.
I have often heard about you.
I've heard so much about you.
I know you very well by reputation.
Often talked about you. 开始交谈 starting up a conversation.
Hi, you're... Then?
Say, don't I know you from somewhere before?
Say, haven't I seen you somewhere before?
Excuse me, didn't we meet in...
Excuse me, haven't we met somewhere before?
I hope you don't mind my asking, but haven't we met somewhere before?
Sorry, but can I...
Excuse me, aren't you...
Excuse my asking, but are you...
Please pardon me for asking, but aren't you? Excuse me, but could you tell me the time?
Excuse me, do you mind if I sit here?
Excuse me, is anyone sitting here?
Excuse me, have you got a light by any chance?
Excuse me, can you give me a light, please?
Sorry, I couldn't help overhearing. Did you mention something about?
Sorry to interrupt you.
Sorry to trouble you.
I beg your pardon.
Do excuse me.
Forgive me for asking.
I say, aren't you?
Weather, isn't it?
Day, isn't it?
"接谈话题 taking up a point.
Sorry to butt in, but did you say?
Sorry to chip in, but did I hear you say?
Sorry to interrupt, but did I hear you say?
Funny you should say that.
Strange you should bring this up.
It was strange you should say that because
Speaking of,
about
talking of,
on the subject of,
to take up the remarks about.
now that you mentioned.
While we're on the subject of,
Hang on, can we stick with that point about?
What a coincidence.
It's interesting you should say so, because...
That reminds me of...
To go back to what you were saying about...
Reverting to your point about...
You mentioned just now.
You brought up an important issue because...
The problem you raised just now is important because...
If I may just go back for a moment to the point you made...
If I might refer back to the problem we were discussing...改换话题 changing a topic.
Hey, I almost forgot.
Oh, it's nearly slipped my mind.
Oh, I knew there was something I meant to tell you.
Oh, I know what I meant to tell you.
Oh, before I forgot.
Oh, while I remember.
By the way.
Incidentally.
Well, let's talk about something different.
Just to change the subject for a while.
Let's change the subject and...
Now, let's drop the subject and...
Could we move on now to...
I think we could pass on to...
Now we come to the main item on the agenda.
On an entirely different matter now, let's talk about...
The next item on the agenda is...
Well, let's turn to the problem of...吸引注意 drawing attention.
Hey.
Hello there.
Look here.
Hey, you.
Hey, you there.
I say.
Listen.
See here.
Look.
Watch.
Look out.
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Sorry.
Sorry to bother you.
Sorry to trouble you.
Ahem. Attention, please.
Pay attention, please.
Let me have your attention, please.
May I have your attention, please?谈论天气 talking about the weather.
Isn't it beautiful?
Isn't it gorgeous?
What a glorious day.
What a beautiful day.
What a wonderful day.
What lovely weather we're having.
Nice day, isn't it?
Wonderful, isn't it?
A lovely day, isn't it?
Isn't this lovely weather?
It's a nice, isn't it?
Nice, isn't it?
Isn't it a nice?
It's better than yesterday.
The weather is marvelous here.
Nice and bright today, isn't it?
It has turned out to be a nice day.
Fairly mild for this time of year.
It's been like this for...
Let's hope it'll last.
What dreadful weather.
What weather.
Isn't it dreadful?
Very lousy weather we're having.
Awful day, isn't it?
Nasty day, isn't it?
Shocking weather outside, isn't it?
The weather's very annoying, isn't it?
I think we're in for a dry spell.
I don't like it at all.
Fancy such a day in.
Is the weather always like this?
Apparently the weather is changing.
It does make a change, doesn't it?
It's rather changeable, isn't it?
It doesn't look too promising.
Yes, it makes a nice change.
What's it like in?
How's the weather in?
How do you like?
What was the weather like yesterday?
What will the weather be like tomorrow?
Is the weather different in?
I wonder what it's going to be like.
I wonder what the weather will be like.
What does the weather forecast say?
What's the weather forecast for tomorrow?
It's quite different from the weather forecast.
It's not the same as the weather forecast.
What's the temperature?
Do you know today's temperature?
The temperature has climbed to.
The temperature has risen to.
The temperature dropped to.
The temperature has dropped a lot today.
The temperature was up in the yesterday.
It's above.
It's below.
It's a bit cloudy, isn't it?
It's coming over cloudy this afternoon.
It's going to cloud over, I'm afraid.
The rain. I hate the rain.
It's beginning to spot.
It's only a shower.
It's pouring with rain.
It's raining heavily.
It's raining hard.
It looks as if it's going to rain.
It looks like rain.
Does it rain very much herein?
I wonder if it's going to rain.
I don't think the rain would last long.
I fear a thunderstorm's brewing.
It looks as if a thunder rain is coming up.
It looks as if a thunder rain is coming up.
It looks like rain, don't you think so?
It seems as if there'll be a thunder shower.
It'll turn out a wet day, I'm afraid.
It's supposed to turn drizzling.
The rain's beginning to let up.
The rain's letting up a little.
The rain's setting in.
The thunder shower's subsiding.
The weatherman predicts showers this afternoon.
I hope the rain will hold off till...
We haven't had a thunderstorm like this in weeks.
The wind's rising.
It's rather windy today.
There's much wind today.
The wind is getting up.
The wind is getting stronger.
The wind's going down.
It's breezy and pleasant today.
There's hardly a breath of air.
It's boiling today.
Is it always as hot as this?
We'll have a heat wave, I'm afraid.
It's sweltering today.
It's very close and sultry today.
It's warm and sticky.
What a scorcher.
It's clearing up.
It's going to be fine.
I hope it stays fine.
Turned out nice again, hasn't it?
It's turning warmer, isn't it?
It's good to see the sun again.
How cold is it?
Fairly cool, isn't it?
It's quite cool here in.
It's bitterly cold.
It's snowing heavily.
I think there'll be a snow.
They say we're in for a snowstorm.谈论时间 Talking about time and date.
What's
the date?
When's?
Today is.
It's
on.
What day is it?
What day is today?
What day of the week is it?
What time is it?
What's the time?
What's the hour?
What time do you have?
What time have you got?
What's the time by your watch?
What time, please?
Could you give me the time?
Could you tell me the time?
Can you tell me what time it is?
Do you know what time it is?
Do you happen to know the time?
It's now.
The hour is.
My watch says.
My watch has.
I have.
It's by my watch.
It's o'clock sharp.
About o'clock.
It's something like o'clock.
It's almost o'clock.
It's close upon o'clock.
It's about to strike.
It's a little after.
It's shortly past.
It's not quite.
It's long before.
It starts at a.m.
For which day?
For how long?
How long did it last?
Have you been here long?
How much time will it take to?
Ago.
There's still minutes to go.
There are still minutes left.
In minutes.
From a.m. till p.m.
Years, more or less.
By at the latest.
Solid hours.
It'll take about a fortnight to.
Any minute now.
This time of day.
Every other day.
Next.
This.
Can the clock be right?
Does the watch keep good time?
Does the clock tell the right time?
The clock is always off.
The watch keeps stopping.
My watch has stopped.
My clock has run down.
My watch is out of order.
It's running slow.
It loses a little.
The watch goes a bit too slow.
It gains a little.
The watch moves a bit too fast.
The watch gains a little.
I've just set my watch by the radio time signal.
I put it on.
I've put the clock fast.
I've moved the hands of the clock on.
It needs winding up.
I've set the clock back.
肯定回答 Affirmative response.
Yes.
Right.
Correct.
That's it.
That's okay.
That's right.
Exactly.
You're quite right.
That's quite right.
That's quite correct.
Spot on.
You're dead right.
Precisely.
Absolutely.
That's perfectly correct.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
I guess you're right.
I think that's right.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yes, you're correct in saying this.
No, I didn't find any mistake in.
That's about it.
Kind of looks that way.
I suppose is absolutely right.
I should say is perfectly right.
It would seem that you are right.
Yes, I can confirm that. (否定回答 Negative response.
It's all wrong.
You've got it all wrong.
You are all wet, actually.
That's not at all right.
You are wrong.
That's not correct.
You've wrong.
Rubbish.
Nonsense.
I suppose you're mistaken there.
I think I must tell you that is not true.
If I may say so, it's actually not the case.
If I may say so, is incorrect.
I'm afraid there is some misunderstanding here.
I'm sorry, but I really should point out that is not correct.
It doesn't seem correct to.
It is perhaps incorrect to.
I don't think so.
I don't think right about it.
I don't think is correct.
I'm afraid it's wrong.
I'm afraid it isn't right. (表达感激 Expressing gratitude.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks a million.
Thanks very much.
Thanks so much.
Many thanks.
Much obliged.
Much appreciated.
Thank you very much.
It's so sweet of you.
It was ever so nice of you.
Thank you very much indeed.
It's very kind of you.
I'm much obliged to you.
I'm extremely grateful to you.
I'm very much indebted to you.
Thanks a lot for.
Thanks a million for.
Thank you so much for.
Thanks very much for.
Many thanks for.
It was ever so nice of you to.
Thank you for.
Thank you very much for.
I'm really very grateful to you for.
I'm very much obliged to you for.
Thank you so very much for.
Thank you very much indeed for.
It's so sweet of you to.
That was extremely good of you to.
I do appreciate your.
It's very good of you to.
You're very kind.
You're just wonderful.
I can never thank you enough.
I really can't thank you enough.
I should like to express my appreciation.
I should like to express how grateful I am.
I should like to express my gratitude for.
I should like to express how grateful I'm for.
You're very thoughtful.
It's most thoughtful of you.
Great.
Sure.
You bet.
Good thing.
That's all right.
That's okay.
No problem.
It's all right.
Think nothing of it.
Not at all.
No bother at all.
No trouble at all.
You are welcome.
My pleasure.
It's a pleasure.
Pleasure was all mine.
Delighted I was able to help.
Delighted to have been of some help.
It's a pleasure to have been of some assistance.
I'm glad to be of some assistance.
At your service.
I'm glad to have been of some service.
Any time.
I'm very glad you enjoyed it.
Thank you.
It was the least I could do.
You would have done the same in my position, I'm sure.
"表达歉意 making an apology.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I'm sorry for.
Sorry about.
Sorry for.
I'm sorry.
Pardon me for.
I'm terribly sorry for.
I really feel bad about.
I'm very sorry about.
I'm extremely sorry for.
I'm extremely sorry to.
Pardon me.
Excuse me.
Please forgive me.
Excuse, please.
Excuse me for, please.
Please forgive.
Please pardon.
Please forgive me for.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
It was all my fault.
Oh, my fault.
It was wrong of me.
It was wrong of me too.
My fault for.
How silly of me too.
I can't tell you how sorry I am.
I really am so sorry.
I'm awfully sorry.
I'm extremely sorry.
I do beg your pardon.
I hope you will pardon me for.
I hope you will forgive me for.
I owe you an apology for.
I must beg to apologize for.
I must make an apology for.
I've got to apologize for.
I must offer my sincerest apologies for.
May I offer my profoundest apologies for?
1,000 pardons for.
Giving my excuse to, for.
I just don't know what to say.
I'm afraid I've brought you too much trouble.
It was most careless of me. It was really quite unintentional. I must apologize.
I apologize for what I said just now.
Please accept my apologies for.
That's quite all right.
That's okay.
That's all right.
Never mind about that.
Don't worry about that.
Not at all.
Not a bit of it.
It doesn't matter at all. That's perfectly all right.
Forget it.
Let's forget it.
Please think nothing of it.
Don't think any more about it.
Please don't give it a second thought.
Don't let it worry you.
Please don't feel bad about it.
Don't let it distress you.
Please don't take it too hard.
What for?
Well, it's just one of those things.
There's no need for you to worry in the least.
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Will you excuse me, please?
Just a minute.
Hang on.
Hang on a minute.
Hold on a second.
Excuse me, I'll be right back.
Excuse me, I'll be back in half a tick.
Excuse me, won't be a minute.
Excuse me, back in a tick.
Excuse me, back in a second.
Excuse me, I'll be with you in a second.
Excuse me a moment.
Excuse me, I won't be long.
Excuse me, I won't be a moment.
Excuse me, I'll be back in a minute.
Excuse me, I'll be back in a short while.
Excuse me, you have to give me a minute.
May I be excused for a minute?
Would you excuse me for a short while, please?
I'm afraid I have to leave you for a while.
I'm afraid you'll have to excuse me for a minute or two.
I wonder if I might be excused for a moment.
I wonder if you'd excuse me for a moment. 结束谈话 Closing a conversation.
It's time for me to go.
Well, must dash.
It's getting late.
I must be pushing along now.
It's time we were off.
I guess I have to go now.
I really have to be going.
I really must leave you.
I really should be going.
I really must be off now.
Excuse me, please. I really ought to be on my way now.
Sorry, gotta go.
Sorry, I must fly now.
Sorry, I must be off now.
Sorry, I must be running along.
Sorry, I must be getting on my way.
Sorry, I ought to get along.
Sorry, I've got to dash now.
Sorry, I've got to rush now.
Sorry, I've got to be pushing off now.
Excuse me, I have to take off.
I'm sorry, it's about time we made a move.
I'm sorry, I must dash away now.
I'd like to talk about this some more, but I have to be going now.
It's getting late. I have to start.
It's been very interesting talking to you, but I really should be off now.
If you'll excuse me, I really have to go now.
I'm afraid I have to go.
I'm afraid I have to leave.
I'm afraid I have to run along.
I'm afraid I really must be going.
I'm afraid I'll have to be going.
It's about time I was going, I'm afraid.
I'm afraid I oughtn't to stay any longer.
I hope you don't mind, but I really mustn't stay any longer.
I hope you don't mind, but I really can't stay any longer.
I won't take any more of your time.
I'm afraid I've taken up too much of your time.
I'm going now.
I'm off now.
Well, I'd better go.
Well, better be moving, I suppose.
Well, I'd better be going.
Goodness, is it nearly?
I've got to hang up now.
I have to ring off now.
Thanks for calling.
It was nice of you to call.
Well, I'd better let you go.
Well, I'd better not keep you.
I'm sorry, but I've got to.
It's been nice.
Nice to have.
I've enjoyed.
Well, thank you for.
Well, let's leave it at that.
You'll have to excuse me.
道别与送行 Taking leave and seeing off.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Bye now.
Cheerio.
See you.
So long.
Bye for now.
See you around.
Catch you later.
I'll be seeing you.
See you later.
See you soon.
See you.
Goodbye.
Good night.
I'd like to say goodbye to you all.
Be in touch.
Keep in touch.
Good luck.
All the best.
Good luck with you.
Bye-bye, and thanks for everything.
Goodbye, and thank you for all you've done for me.
Regards to.
Love to.
Send My best.
Mention me to.
Remember me to.
Give my love to.
Say hello to.
Please give my best regards to.
Take care. Bye.
Have a good day.
Take care now, you hear?
Mind how you go. Bye.
Look after yourself. Bye.
Goodbye, and have a good journey.
I hope to see you again. Have a good trip.
I trust you have a pleasant journey. Goodbye.
Be sure to drop us a line.
Remember to drop us a line.
Remember to give us a ring.
Don't forget to give me a ring.
Come and see me.
Remember to look me up.
See you again next time.
Let's hope it's au revoir.
I hope we'll get together again soon.
I hope we will meet at some future date.
I look forward to seeing you again soon.
I'm glad to have had the opportunity to meet you here.
I'm really going to miss you.
第2章，思想沟通，能力 ability， 询问能否 asking about ability。
Are you any good?
Are you any good at?
Are you clever at?
Can you?
Are you capable of?
Are you able to?
Do you think you can?
Think you can?
Do you reckon you could?
Do you reckon you have the gift of?
Do you feel able to?
Do you think you have the abilities to?
Do you think you're capable of?
Have you got the know-how for?
Do you know how to?
Do you know anything about?
I bet you can't. Can you?
What are you like?
You've got a talent for.
Are you proficient at?
Do you have any experience?
Do you have the qualifications necessary to?
You can, can't you?
表示能做 stating one can.
I think I can.
I reckon I can.
I reckon I have the gift of.
I feel capable of.
I feel able to.
I believe I have the abilities to.
I think I have the competence necessary for.
I think I have the capability of.
I'm pretty good at.
I'm brilliant at.
I'm clever at.
I'd say I was quite proficient at.
I'm not too bad at.
Isn't too difficult to me.
It's not too much a problem for me to.
I've got the know-how to.
I know how to.
Sure.
No problem.
Yes, it's nothing.
Yes, it's a cinch.
Yes, it's quite easy.
Yes, it's a piece of cake.
I can.
I'm able to.
I'm capable of.
I know something about.
I know.
I might be able to.
表示不能 stating one cannot.
I'm not sure I can.
I don't reckon I can.
I don't feel able to.
I don't feel capable of.
I don't think I have the competence necessary to.
I'd say might be beyond me.
I'm afraid I can't.
I'm afraid might be out of my depth.
I'm not sure I'm able to.
I'm not sure I have the capability of.
I'm not sure I know how to.
I don't reckon I've got the know-how to.
I'm hopeless.
I'm no good.
I'm no use.
I'm no use at.
Just isn't my line.
I'm no good at.
I'm useless at.
I'm hopeless at.
I haven't a clue how to.
I haven't the least idea how to.
I don't know anything about.
I've got no idea how to.
I don't know how I can.
There's no way I can.
Can't manage to.
I can't.
I won't be able to.
It's just impossible for me to.
I think that would prove impossible for me to.
I'm pretty bad at.
I don't know how I can get done.
I don't know where to begin.
I don't know where to begin.
I think I have no experience.劝告 advice 请求指点 asking for advice.
Can you help me straighten out?
Can you straighten me out on?
Help me sort out, will you?
What would you do if you were me?
What would you do if you were in my shoes?
What would you do in my position?
What do you reckon I should do?
What do you think I should do?
What do you think I ought to do?
What would you say I should do?
What would you advise me to do?
What would you counsel me to do?
Do you think I should?
Reckon I should.
Do you think I should?
Would you advise me to?
Would you counsel me to?
Would you recommend for?
Would you recommend me to?
How do I go about?
What can I do to?
What should I do to?
Ought I to?
Should I?
I'd like your advice about.
I'd like to consult you on.
I'd like to have your advice on.
Would I ask for some advice about?
Can you give me some advice on?
Could I ask for some advice about?
Could I have your advice on?
I would appreciate your advice on.
I would appreciate some advice from you.
I would appreciate it if you could give me some advice about.
Could I ask what your reactions would be to?
I was wondering what your reactions would be to.
I'd like to ask whether it's correct to.
劝人去做 advising someone to do something.
You should, if you see what I mean.
You ought to, if you get what I mean.
Why not?
Why don't you?
I reckon you should.
The way I see it, you should.
You'd better.
You would be wise to.
I think you ought to.
I think you should.
You should, if you ask me.
I'd, if I were in your shoes.
If I were in your position, I would.
I would, if I were in your place.
I think you can.
I think you might.
I advise you to.
I'd suggest.
It might be an idea if.
It might be a good idea to.
You might as well.
It might be as well to.
My advice would be to.
My reaction would be to.
If you take my advice, you'll.
If you follow my recommendations, you'll.
You would be ill-advised not to.
You would be unwise not to. 劝人别做 Advise someone not to do something.
You can't, if you see what I mean.
You shouldn't, if you get what I mean.
I don't reckon it'll do you any good to.
I don't think it'll do you any good to.
I don't reckon it's a good idea to.
I don't think it's a good idea to.
I don't reckon you should.
I don't think you ought to.
I'd never, if I were in your shoes.
I were you, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't, if I were in your position.
I advise you not to.
I wouldn't advise you to.
I would recommend you not to.
I would advise you against.
If you follow my recommendation, you won't.
If you follow my advice, you won't.
Take my advice and don't.
You mustn't.
It might not be a good idea to.
If you want my advice, I think it would be unwise to.
My advice would be, don't.
My reaction would be, never.
"同意 agreement. 询问是否同意 ask if someone agrees.
Yeah?
Right?
Or am I speaking through my neck?
Or is that a heap of garbage?
Okay.
Okay by you?
Don't you agree?
All right with you?
Would you agree?
Do you go along with?
Do you agree with?
Do you agree with me about?
Would you concur with?
Would you agree with?
Would you agree that?
Don't you agree to?
Don't you agree that?
Don't you agree with me that?
Don't you think so?
Wouldn't you say so?
Don't you think?
Wouldn't you say that?
Don't you feel?
Can I ask if you agree with?
Can I ask if you would agree that?
I wonder if you would concur with the idea that.
I wonder if you would consent to.
I'd like to ask you if you agree with.
I'd like to know if you would agree with.
May I ask if you would agree that?
Think the same as I do?
Do you think you would give assent to?
Would you accept his view on?
You don't disagree, do you?
You wouldn't disagree with, would you?
You'd accept, wouldn't you? 表达同意 expressing agreement.
Well, that's it.
Well, this is it.
Well, that's the thing.
I'm with you there.
I'd go along with you there.
Too true.
It sure is.
How true.
True enough.
It certainly is.
How right that is.
They certainly are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Right-o.
You got it.
You said it.
You are right.
Right you are.
That's right.
That is very true.
Hear, hear.
Same here.
Exactly my thoughts.
That goes for me too.
I think so too.
That makes two of us.
That's my feeling too.
That's my opinion too.
That's just what I was thinking.
That's just my opinion.
I'm of exactly the same idea.
I'm of exactly the same idea as you.
I couldn't agree more.
I quite agree with you.
I agree with altogether.
I concur absolutely with.
I certainly agree that.
I definitely would give my consent to.
I don't think anyone would disagree.
I don't think anyone would dispute with.
I don't think anyone would argue with.
I don't think anyone would dispute that.
I think nobody would disagree with.
I think nobody would dissent from.
I think nobody would disagree.
I think I take your point completely.
I think I entirely agree with your view.
That's just my opinion.
I'm of exactly the same idea.
I'm of exactly the same idea as you.
I fully endorse what has said about.
有保留同意. Agreeing with reservation.
It sure is, but.
Okay, but.
Right, but.
Yes, but.
But.
You're right, but.
That's quite true, but.
That's right, but.
Could be, but.
Yes, perhaps, but.
Maybe, but.
I can see that, of course, but.
I certainly see what you mean, but.
I surely understand what you mean, but.
I go along with most of that, but.
There's a lot in what you say, but.
I certainly accept most of what you said, but.
I know you have a point there, but.
There's a lot in what you say, but.
I quite agree with what you said, but.
I think we're very much in agreement on this. However.
Yes, to some extent, but.
I agree up to a point, but.
I agree with you to a certain extent, but.
I concur with you in a sense, but.
I agree in principle, but.
I endorse your plan in principle, but.
Despite all what you said, I think.
In spite of what you said, I think.
That's one way of looking at it, but. 表达不同意. Expressing disagreement.
On the contrary.
Quite the opposite.
Never.
No way.
You can't be serious.
You can't mean that.
I can't go along with.
I can't agree that.
I don't think that's sensible.
I think it's unreasonable.
I don't think so.
I wouldn't say that.
That's not how I see it.
I can't say that I share.
I can't say that I concur with.
I'm afraid I have to argue with.
I'm afraid I have to dissent from.
I'm not at all convinced by.
I'm not at all convinced.
Are you kidding?
Come off it.
I don't see why. 承认自己有误. Admitting one is wrong.
All right, you win.
Okay, you're the expert.
Oh, yes. How silly of me.
Sorry, my mistake.
Sorry, slipped up there.
Sorry, I got it all wrong.
Yes, perhaps I'm wrong there.
Oh, maybe I was wrong.
Oh, yes. I should have remembered that.
Oh, yes, you're right.
Yes, now I come to think about it.
Sorry, I hadn't thought of that.
Yes, sorry. You're quite right.
Yes, I may well have been mistaken over.
Yes, I must admit.
Yes, I must.
Yes, I think I have overlooked.
Yes, I must have neglected his talent. 达成一致. Reaching agreement.
That's it then.
So that's that then.
Okay, that's agreed then.
Well, that's settled then.
Right, we all agree then.
Well, we've come to the same thing then.
We are all agreed then.
We are agreed that.
That sounds okay then.
Looks like we've all agreed.
That seems to be agreed then.
We seem to be saying the same thing now.
Looks like we've all agreed.
So, we appear to agree on.
So, we seem to agree to.
We seem to be in complete agreement on.
We seem to have come to a complete agreement on.
I'm glad we've come together at last.
I'm glad that we have finally reached an agreement.
All right, then.
So, we're all happy about, aren't we?
We seem to have removed every obstacle to agreement.
So, we're basically in agreement on.
Can I take it that we're all satisfied with the plan?
So what are we arguing about?
Good. The arrangement seems to have satisfied everyone.约会 appointment 进行预约 making appointments.
Are you free?
Are you going to be busy?
Are you doing anything special?
Do you happen to be free?
Are you doing anything, by any chance?
Can, see me?
Could, see me?
Will, be able to see me?
I wonder if it would be convenient for, to meet us.
I thought I'd drop over.
I'd like to meet you.
I'd like to call on you.
I'd like to see you.
I'd like to drop by.
I'd like to fix an appointment with you.
I'd like to make an appointment with you.
Let's make a date too.
I hope I can meet you. All right?
Can I see you? All right?
I wonder if could fit me in.
May I make an appointment?
May I have an appointment with you?
I wonder if could spare me.
I wonder if could arrange with me about 改变约会 changing appointments.
Can we make a little later?
Could we put it off?
Let's postpone our date for, if you don't mind.
Sorry, but I can't join you for.
I'm sorry, but I won't be able to see you.
I'll have to take a rain check on.
We'll have to make our appointment a little later.
I'm sorry to inconvenience you, but we have to postpone.
Could you make it some other time?
That's all right. We can make it some other time.
I'm afraid we'll have to change our appointment.
Could we meet at, instead of?
We'll have to make it some other time. Is that all right?
If by any chance I don't make it, I'll see you.
I have something urgent, so the appointment will have to be canceled.
I'm terribly sorry, but something unexpected came up.
I wonder if we could alter the time of our meeting to...
争辩 argument.
Don't you see?
Isn't it a fact that we should consider it seriously?
Are you overlooking the fact that we're wrong?
That's irrelevant.
That's beside the point.
That's off the point.
What do you mean by?
You seem to be forgetting.
You've missed the whole point.
That makes no sense.
What point are you making?
What exactly are you getting at?
What's the point?
What are you driving at?
What are you getting at?
I can't quite see your point.
I'm completely mixed up.
I'm completely confused.
I'm completely mistaken.
That's absurd.
That's ridiculous.
Xiang xing, belief. 表示相信 expressing belief.
No kidding.
Don't pull my leg.
Sounds true.
Looks credible.
Seems believable.
It seems credible.
That's my thing.
That's where I am.
That can be believed.
I think it's believable. I'll take your words for it.
I believe what you said.
I don't doubt your words.
I think what you said is true.
I have the conviction that he's telling the truth.
I can trust.
I can credit.
I believe.
I'm convinced of.
I feel confident of.
I'm in the belief that.
It is my belief that.
I can well believe.
I have perfect trust in.
I have full credit in.
I have complete faith in.
I'm in the full conviction that.
I have full confidence that.
I can easily believe.
It's convincible.
I have much belief in.
I think I can give full credit to.
I think I will accept. 表达不信 expressing disbelief.
Come off it.
Get out of it.
Don't talk rot.
Give me a break.
You must be joking.
You can't be serious.
Oh, get on with you.
Oh, get off with you.
Oh, get away with you.
Oh, get along with you.
Oh, I wouldn't worry about that.
Never tell me.
Tell me another.
That's what you say.
That story isn't good enough for me.
I don't think.
I don't believe you.
I don't believe a word of it.
I refuse to believe that.
I know better than that.
Don't expect me to believe.
You can't expect me to believe.
I think it's incredible.
I find it hard to believe.
I think it's hard to believe.
Are you kidding me?
Don't be so silly.
Don't tell me.
Dream on.
I don't buy your story.
Says you.
Do you think I'd believe a story like that?
How is that possible?
It's too good to be true.
You're not serious, are you?
It can't be true.
That's a good one.
"确定 certainty 询问是否有把握 asking if one is sure
Sure?
Really?
Positive?
For sure?
You're sure?
Definitely?
Are you sure?
Are you certain?
Sure as fate?
Are you certain about?
Are you certain of?
Are you positive?
Are you certain?
Are you sure about?
Are you sure of?
Are you sure that?
Can you be positive about?
Can you be positive that?
Do you know for certain?
Do you know for sure that?
Do you think you have no doubt of?
Can you say with any certainty that?
Do you think you're confident that?
You're quite sure?
You're absolutely certain.
Can you really be certain?
Can you really be sure of?
Forgive me, but are you really certain?
Pardon me, but are you really certain about it?
Is there any room for doubt about?
Is there any doubt about?
There's no doubt in your mind about.
There's no doubt in your mind.
And no mistake?
Perhaps I misunderstood, but are you quite certain?
Do you mean to say?
I suppose you have no doubt about.
表达有把握 Expressing certainty.
I bet.
I bet.
I'll bet.
Absolutely certain.
Absolutely positive.
I'm absolutely positive.
I'm absolutely positive about.
I'm absolutely positive that.
Bet.
For sure.
It's a clinch.
It's quite certain that.
And no mistake?
There is no mistake about it.
It's definite that.
It is a certainty that.
I'm 100% certain.
I'm 100% certain that.
I'm absolutely positive.
I'm absolutely positive about.
I'm absolutely positive that.
I think I'm fully confident of.
You bet it is.
It must be.
It can't be otherwise.
No doubt it is.
That's for sure.
There's no question about it.
There's no room for doubt about it.
There can't be any doubt about that.
There's no doubt whatsoever about it.
There can't be any room for doubt about that.
There can't be any doubt as to.
There can't be any doubt that.
You can be sure.
You can be sure about.
You can rest assured.
You may be certain that.
I don't think I have any doubt about.
I don't think there can be any doubt of.
I don't think there can be any doubt that.
I don't think there can be any question of.
I don't see any problem.
Yes, really.
Yes, definitely.
He must.
He'll certainly.
I'm sure.
I'm certain.
I'm quite convinced.
Surely that's obvious, isn't it?
You bet.
I give you my word for it.
表达没把握 Expressing uncertainty.
I'm not too sure of it.
I wouldn't be too sure about that.
I haven't a clue about.
I've no idea.
I can't say for certain.
I couldn't say, really.
I'm not certain about.
I'm not certain.
I'm not sure about.
I'm not sure.
I can't say with any certainty about.
I can't say with any certainty that.
I'm not sure.
I'm not certain.
I can't be sure.
I can't be certain.
I can't say for certain.
I can't decide.
I can't make up my mind.
I can't tell.
I can't work out.
I find it difficult to come to a conclusion.
I find it difficult to draw a conclusion on that.
I'm afraid I can't be certain about.
I'm afraid I can't be positive about.
I'm not at all convinced.
Is not at all certain.
It's not at all certain.
I have my doubts about.
There is some doubt in my mind.
There is some doubt in my mind about.
There is some doubt in my mind.
There's still some doubt about.
There's still some doubt as to.
There's still some doubt if.
There's yet an element of doubt about.
There's yet an element of doubt that.
Hard to tell, it could be.
I feel in such a muddle.
I would have thought so.
Let's leave it to chance.
I really couldn't tell.
I suppose it could be.
I think it was, or something like that.
I have a feeling that, but I may not be correct.
"理解 comprehension 核使理解情况 checking comprehension
If I see your point right, then.
If I've got it right, then.
If I got the picture, then.
If I understand right, then.
If I follow you correctly, then.
If I perceive your meaning correctly, then.
If I understand you rightly, then.
If I take your point rightly, then.
In other words, right?
So what it boils down to is, yeah?
So the basic idea is that.
So what you mean is, right?
So what you're really saying is, right?
You mean, right?
Do you intend to say that?
Do you mean?
So what you intend to say is that.
Sorry, I don't quite catch you. You mean?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure I've got the point of what you said.
Do you mean that?
Sorry, I don't quite see the point. Does it mean?
Sorry, I'm not quite with what you said. Does it mean?
I'm not certain I've grasped what you meant. Is it that?
That means, right?
Does that mean?
So that means.
Am I to understand that?
So am I right in saying?
Would I be correct in supposing?
Would I be right in saying?
Can I have misunderstood you if I say?
I'm not sure I follow you right. Do you mean that?
I'm sorry if I'm being a little slow, but I'm not sure I understand. Does this mean?
So.
Can I get one thing clear? You think.
Just to be quite clear about what's just been said.
The implication seems to be.
That seems to be tantamount to saying. 了解他人是否明白. Asking if someone understands.
Okay.
See?
Get it?
Got that?
Do you see?
Okay so far?
Understand?
See what I mean?
Get the picture?
Are you with me?
Are you there yet?
Got the message yet?
Has the penny dropped?
Have you got it right?
Did you get the picture?
You have me, haven't you?
Know what I mean?
Know what I'm driving at?
Know what I'm getting at?
Know what I'm trying to say?
Do you get me?
Do you take me?
Do you follow me?
Do you see my point?
Do you see what I mean?
Do you get what I mean?
Do you know what I mean?
Did you catch my meaning?
Do you understand what I said?
Can you make sense of what I said?
Did you grasp the point of what I said?
Is that clear to you?
That's clear, isn't it?
You got it, didn't you?
Right?
Yeah.
Does that seem to make sense?
Don't you see the point?
If you see what I mean.
If you take my point.
If you understand what I mean.
I hope that's clear.
I suppose I've made myself clear.
Do I make myself clear?
Have I made myself clear?
Am I making myself clear?
Did I make everything clear?
If there's anything you're still not clear about, please say so.
If there's still something you don't understand, please let me know.
Can I say that you understand what I mean?
I don't know if I'm making myself clear.
I trust you understand me?
Is that reasonably clear?
"正确与否 correctness,
询问正确与否
asking if it is right.
Is it okay?
Is it correct, please?
Is that right, please?
Would that be correct?
Am I right?
Have I got it right, please?
Would it be true to say so?
It's, isn't it?
Yes.
Right?
Is it true that?
Is it true to?
Would it be correct?
Am I correct in supposing so?
Do you think is correct?
Is this the right thing to do?
Any mistake?
Anything wrong?
Anything wrong with it?
Is there any mistake in?
I've got it right, haven't I?
Could you please tell me if is correct?
Could I ask if is correct?
Would you mind telling me if is correct?
I'd like to check that I've got right.
I'd like to find out if I've got right.
I'd like to make sure that is correct.
I assume that.
I wonder if I'm right in supposing that.
肯定回答 affirmative replies.
Right.
Correct.
That's it.
That's okay.
That's all right.
Yes, that's right.
Kind of looks that way.
Spot on.
Nothing wrong with it.
I didn't find any mistake in.
I think there's nothing wrong with.
I don't think there's anything wrong with.
That's about it.
You're dead right.
Exactly.
You're quite right.
That's quite correct.
Precisely.
Absolutely.
That is perfectly correct.
I suppose is absolutely true.
I should say is perfectly correct.
I guess you're right.
It would seem that you were right.
I think that's quite right.
Yes, you're correct in.
Yes, I can confirm that.
否定回答 negative replies.
It's all wrong.
You've got it all wrong.
You're all wet, actually.
That's not at all right.
You're wrong.
You, wrong.
I don't think you're right about it.
I suppose you're mistaken there.
Rubbish.
Nonsense.
I didn't think.
I don't think.
Isn't right, is it?
I don't think it's correct.
I'm afraid is wrong.
I'm afraid is not quite right.
I'm not sure you're correct about.
No, actually.
Sorry, that's not correct.
I think I must tell you that is not true.
I'm sorry, but I really should point out is not correct.
If I may say so, it's actually not the case.
If I may say so, is incorrect.
I'm afraid there is some misunderstanding here. 纠正错误 correcting mistakes.
Hang on a minute.
Hold on a minute.
Oh, no, wait a minute.
No,
As far as I know,
but,
surely it's... Isn't it?
well, actually,
Well, as a matter of fact.
well, in fact.
Well, the fact is.
Allow me to correct one thing you said.
If I may correct you,
I'm afraid I have to correct you there, actually.
I suppose it might be more correct to say,
I think it might be more accurate to say,推论, deduction.
I don't know, but I suppose.
I am not sure, but I think.
Supposing,
Suppose.
what if,
Imagine.
I think,
I suppose.
I would guess.
Obviously.
It seems clear to me that,
It is perfectly obvious that,
must,
can't have,
assuming that,
描述, description.
she is about,
She is in her early 30s.
she is in her mid-30s.
She is in her late 30s.
He is average height.
What's special about it?
What's interesting about it?
What's remarkable about it?
It's famous for.
It's well known for.
It's noted for.
The city's got. "欲求, desire. 表达欲求, expressing one's desire.
I'm craving for.
I'm dying to.
I'm itching for.
I'm dying for.
I could do with.
I'd give anything to.
I rather fancy.
I'm anxious to.
I'm really longing to.
I'm really longing for.
I particularly wish to.
I really desire to.
I should really love to.
I should very much like to.
I very much wish.
What I really wish.
I'd love.
I feel like.
I want to.
I need.
I need to.
I think I'll.
I wouldn't mind.
I want to.
I'd like to.
I'd like. Well, I wouldn't say no to.
Well, I wouldn't object to.
Would go down well.
I could.
I must.
If only I could.
I've just got to.
Love one.
Well, would just suit me.
Why can't I?
Wouldn't it be nice to?
It must be wonderful to.
It'd be nice to.
What I need is.
概括 generalization,
usually,
generally,
apparently,
again and again,
time and again,
most of the time,
in my experience,
as a rule,
on the whole,
by and large,
in most cases,
it seems that,
it appears that.
"举例
examples,
举例说明
giving examples,
Like,
for example,
such as,
look at,
what's more,
for one,
for example,
for instance,
what about,
not only that,
take, for instance,
take the case of,
let me give you an example.
allow me to cite an example,
Let me take an example.
let me cite a few instances,
It follows from that,
is evidence of that.
you have only to look at,
An example of this would be that,
to exemplify, let us,
to illustrate, let us consider the case of,
to make it clear to you, let us have a look at.
to give you an example of this, take, for instance. "指示 instructions, 提供指示 giving instructions.
Watch,
First of all,
first,
the first thing.
the first step.
Look, all you do is,
It's quite easy.
after you've done that, you,
And then, don't forget to,
the next thing you do is,
you do it like this.
let me show you, first you, and then you.
It's like this. First you, and then,
This is how you do it. First, then,
make sure you remember.
yes, and be careful not.
You can process as follows.
The following procedure should be adopted.
The job should be done according to the following procedure.
The process should be carried out according to the following procedure. "信息 information, 了解信息 asking for information.
Any clue?
Got any idea?
What's up?
What went on?
What is to say?
Any clue?
Got any idea?
Do you know?
Do you know?
Happen to know?
Do you happen to know?
Can you tell me something about?
Could I inquire about?
I wonder if you could give me some information about.
Could you tell me some more about?
Do you know?
Could you tell me?
Can you tell me, please?
Could I ask?
I'd like to know more about.
I'd like to ask about.
I'd like to know, please.
I should be interested to know.
Would you mind telling me?
I wonder if I could ask.
I wonder if you could tell me.
I'd like to speak to someone about.
Something else I'd like to know is,
could anyone tell me?
sorry to keep after you, but could you tell me?
Sorry to trouble you, but...
Could I ask?
If you don't mind my asking.
I hope you don't mind my asking, but I'd like to know.
I was wondering whether you could help me. I'd like to know.
This may sound like a dumb question, but I'd like to know. 询问是否知道 Ask if someone knows.
Do you know?
Did you know?
Know anything about?
No.
Have you got any idea about?
Have you got any idea?
Did you know about?
Did you know?
Do you know about?
Do you know?
Do you know anything about?
Are you aware of?
Are you aware that?
Are you conscious of?
Are you conscious that?
Heard about?
Have you heard?
Have you heard about?
Have you heard that?
Did you hear?
Did someone tell you?
Has someone told you?
Did someone tell you?
Did someone tell you about?
Has someone told you?
Has someone told you about?
You know, don't you?
You know about, don't you?
Can you give me any information about, please?
Could you give me any information on?
Do you realize?
I wonder if you realize that.
Didn't you know?
Do you happen to know anything about?
I wonder whether you could let me know something about.
表达知道某事 Stating one knows something.
That's what I heard.
So I hear.
I've been told about.
I've been told that.
Someone has told me about.
Someone told me that.
Yes, I do know about.
Yes, I do know.
Yes, I do realize.
I hear.
I'm told.
So I gather, but thank you for telling me this.
So I understand, but thank you for telling me this.
So I'm told, but thank you for telling me this.
Guess what?
For all I know.
I have it on good authority that.
表达不知某事 Stating one has no idea.
Don't know.
Don't ask me.
Ask me another.
I'm quite in dark about it.
I wish I knew.
I wish I know all about it.
I'm sorry, I don't know anything about.
I'm sorry, I know nothing about.
Sorry, no idea.
Sorry, no idea.
I'm sorry, I don't know much about.
I'm sorry to say I don't know very much about.
I have to admit, I know very little about.
I have to say, not something I know very much about.
I couldn't tell you.
Don't ask me who put out the light.
I'm blessed if I know. I couldn't tell you.
I'm afraid I can't tell you.
I'm sorry, I don't know anything about.
I'm afraid I can't help you there.意图 Intention 询问意图 Asking what someone is going to do.
Are you thinking of?
Are you going to?
Do you plan to?
Do you intend to?
Is it your intention to?
You intend to, don't you?
It's your intention to, isn't it?
Your intention is to, isn't it?
What are you going to do?
What's your intention?
What do you intend to do?
What'll you do?
What'll you be doing?
What are you doing?
What do you mean to do?
What do you plan to do?
Will you?
Do you reckon you'll?
Do you mean to?
You'll, won't you?
Do you have any intention of?
Do you have any plans for?
Are you planning to?
Have you decided to? 说明打算. Stating one is going to do things.
I plan to.
I'm going to.
I'm planning to.
I intend to.
My intention is to.
It's my intention to.
I have every intention to.
I propose to.
I'm
sure going to.
I'll
make an effort to.
I'm hoping to.
I'm thinking of.
I'm figuring on.
I mean to.
I feel inclined to.
I think I'll.
I think about.
I thought I'd.
I'll do all I can.
I'll get around to.
I've decided to.
I expect. 表达没打算做某事. Stating one is not going to do things.
I'm not thinking of.
I don't plan to.
I'm not planning to.
I have no intention of.
I don't propose.
I don't intend to.
I don't really feel inclined to.
I don't feel much like.
I won't.
I don't reckon I'll.
I don't think I'll.
Nothing could be farther from my mind.
Nothing could be farther from my mind than.
Nothing will induce me to.
I've decided not to.
It never entered my head to.
It is not my intention to.
You won't catch me.判断 judgment 做出判断 making a judgment
Will very likely.
There's good chance.
It's probable that.
It's unlikely that.
It seems to be absolutely impossible that.
It seems totally out of the question that.
I feel as if.
I feel that.
That's about it.
Perhaps.
Sounds all right.
It sounds quite all right.
It seems all right.
That's how it looks.
Kind of looks that way.
Looks like.
It seems that.
Don't seem to be.
There seems to be.
It would seem that.
It seems likely that.
It seems probable that.
I say.
I judge.义务 obligation.
You must.
You have to.
You've got to.
You will be required to.
You are expected to.
You are required to.
You'd better.
You ought to carry your dictionary.
You should give your seat to the old.
You're under an obligation to.提供 offer 提供某物 offering
Your.
Here's need
Fancy some.
Will you have
Would you like some?
Won't you have some
Would you care for?
This is for you.
That's for you.
Please take it.
Do have it.
How about?
What would you say to?
Why don't you have some?
Could I offer you?
May I give you?
Can I shout you?
Can I get you?
Can I offer you?
Can I give you?
May I fetch you?
The you need.
This is you asked for.
I want you to take.
I'd like you to have.
I'd like to give you.
I have great pleasure in presenting you with.
It was with great pleasure that I present you with.
Please accept as a memory of our past.
I'd be much delighted if you would accept. 接受提供 accepting offer.
Great.
Oh, terrific.
It's just lovely.
That would be very nice.
Thank you so much.
That's very kind of you.
Oh, that was extremely good of you.
I can think of nothing better.
That'd be most delightful.
I'd love some.
I'd like it very much, please.
Oh, breathtaking.
It'll be most useful.
Oh, you're just wonderful.
That's just what I need urgently.
谢绝提供 refusing offer politely.
No thanks.
I won't, thanks.
Not for me, thanks.
Thanks all the same, but I won't.
No thank you.
No, thank you, I won't.
No, thank you very much.
No, I really won't, thank you.
Not for me, thank you.
I'd better not, thank you.
Not this time, thanks.
No thanks, not this time.
I'm afraid I can't, but thank you just the same.
That's very kind of you, but I'd prefer not.
I'm not sure I can, thank you.
I'd prefer not, if you don't mind.
That won't be necessary.
主动帮忙 offering help.
Need a hand?
Want some help?
Would you like any help?
If you like, I could.
If you want, I could, for you.
Why don't you let me help?
You look like you could do with some help.
You look like you need some help too.
I'll bring you.
What can I do to help?
Perhaps I could assist in some way.
接受帮助 accepting help.
That's nice of you. Thank you.
That's very kind of you. Thank you.
I'd be most delighted if you could help me.
I'd be most delighted to have your help.
Just what I need.
That'd be a big help. Thanks a lot.
I'd be most grateful for your help.
You are most thoughtful.
That's extremely good of you, too.
谢绝帮助 declining help.
Don't worry. I can handle it.
No, it's all right. I can manage.
No, don't worry.
No, it's okay. Don't worry about that.
No, it's all right. Don't worry about me.
No, it's all right. Thanks.
No, it's okay, thanks.
No, thanks. It's okay with me.
No, thanks a lot, but I'm okay.
No, I'm okay. I can do it myself.
Don't bother.
Please don't bother.
Please don't bother about it.
Please don't trouble.
Please don't trouble about it.
Please don't trouble yourself about it.
No, really, I can do it myself.
No, thank you. 意見 opinion 徵求意見 asking for opinions.
How about?
What about?
Will it do if?
Will that do?
What do you say?
What do you reckon?
What's your view?
What do you feel?
What's your opinion?
What do you think of it?
I'd be glad to have your view on.
I'd be glad to have your comments on.
I'd like to have your opinion on.
I don't think much of, do you?
That's all right with you. Are pretty awful, aren't they?
Do you have any particular views on? 表達意見 expressing opinions.
Don't you think?
Personally, I see.
Personally, I feel.
Personally, I believe.
Personally, I consider.
My own view of the matter is.
My position on this problem is that.
If you ask me, I think.
You know what I think? I think.
I can't help thinking that.
Well, I must say.
I'd like to point out that.
If I may say so.
說明意見 stating one's opinions.
Makes no odds to me.
I really don't know what to say.
I really don't have any opinion about.
I really don't have anything to say about.
It doesn't really affect me, I'm afraid.
It doesn't really matter to me, I'm afraid.
I have no strong feelings about the matter.
I can't say I have any particular views on the issue.
I don't hold any particular position on that project.
I couldn't say, I'm afraid.
I couldn't say, I'm afraid. It's beyond me.
I really don't know what to think about.
I've nothing to say about the.
It is not something I've considered a great deal, I'm afraid. 避免直抒己见 stating in an indirect way.
Not my department, I'm afraid.
Well, I don't know, really.
Do you think so? I'd have to think about it.
I'm afraid I can't comment on.
I'm sorry, I'm no judge of.
设法改变他人意见 trying to change someone's opinion.
But look at it like this.
Well, think of it this way.
But don't you think?
I guess that's partly true, but...
Yes, but you didn't get the main point.
But seen from another angle, one might say...
Surely you don't think it's possible to...
"准许 permission,
徵求許可
asking for permission.
Okay.
All right.
Can I have the okay?
Have I got the go-ahead?
Do I have your permission?
Let me, would you?
Okay if I.
Okay to.
All right if I.
Can I have the okay to?
Have I got the go-ahead to?
Could I?
Can I, please?
I can, can't I?
Will you let me?
Will you allow me to?
Would it be all right if I?
Do you think I could?
May I?
Am I allowed to?
Do I have your permission to?
Would I be in a position to?
Would I be allowed?
Do you have any objection if I?
Any chance of?
Is there any way we could?
What are our chances of?
I'll, if I may.
I should like to, if I may.
I thought I'd.
You'll let me, won't you?
Do you have any objection?
I hope you don't mind, but wouldn't it be possible for me to?
Is it possible to?
We'd like permission to.
表示许可 granting permission.
Fine.
All right.
Okay by me.
That's fine.
No reason why not.
No reason why you shouldn't.
No reason why you shouldn't. Go ahead.
Please do.
Sure.
Sure can.
To be sure.
Of course.
By all means.
Feel free.
Suit yourself.
Anything goes.
Feel free to do what you like.
As you wish.
It's okay if you.
Why not?
If you like.
Please don't hesitate to do that.
Yes, indeed you may.
You may, if you like. 拒绝给予许可 refusing to grant permission.
Sorry, no way.
Sorry, out of the question.
Sorry, it's not on.
I'm sorry, that's not allowed.
I'm sorry, but that's not possible.
No way, I'm afraid.
That's not on, I'm afraid.
Out of the question, I'm afraid.
I'm afraid that's not really possible.
I'm sorry, you can't.
I'm sorry, you're not allowed to.
I'm afraid I can't let you.
I'm afraid we can't permit.
I'm afraid I can't give you permission to.
I'm afraid you can't have my permission.
I can't possibly.
I'd like to, but...
I'm afraid it's not possible for you to.
It's not allowed to.
I'm afraid it's against the regulations to.
I'm afraid nobody is allowed.
Chuan shuo, persuasion. 设法说服 trying to persuade someone.
Don't be like that.
Don't, for goodness sake.
Please let me.
Won't you let me, please?
You'll
have to.
I really think you'd do well.
Surely the most sensible thing would be to.
Surely the best course of action would be to.
It'll get you nowhere.
Just for.
Listen to me just once, okay?
Is it worth all the effort?
I just don't see why we shouldn't.
I don't really think.
That might be okay, but we must take everything into account.
I really don't think so, because...
Yuan yin, reason. 询问理由 asking for a reason.
Why?
Have you got any idea why?
Do you know why?
Why do you think?
Why did...
What?
What's the reason?
How did it come about that?
Is that why?
Is that the reason? 提供理由 giving reasons.
The thing is...
The reason was that...
The basic reason is that...
The reason for was that...
The reason why is...
It's because...
Well, because... Well, you see...
If I could explain...
And that's my reason for...
I believe... Is right for the following reasons.
Has ample justification for...
I think there's actually a good case for... "重复 repetition 要求重复 asking for repetition.
What?
Sorry?
Pardon?
Beg pardon?
What was that you said?
I'm sorry.
Pardon me?
I beg your pardon.
Come again, please.
Say that again, please.
What was that again, please?
Please say it once more.
Would you repeat what you said, please?
I wonder if you'd mind repeating.
Please be good enough to reiterate.
Sorry, what did you say?
I'm sorry. What did you say?
Sorry, but I missed that.
Sorry, I didn't get any of that.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Could you repeat that, please?
I didn't hear you. Could you come back?
I'm afraid I didn't hear.
I didn't quite hear what you said.
I'm afraid I didn't quite catch what you were saying.
I'm sorry, but I didn't quite hear what you said.
I'm sorry, but I didn't quite catch what you were saying.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear what you said. 进行重复 repeating.
What I said was,
I was just remarking.
I was just saying.
I was just expressing the view that.
I was just making the suggestion that.
I was merely pointing out that.
I was merely putting forward the opinion that.
I was merely stating the fact that.
I was just asking.
I was just inquiring.
I was just wondering.
I was merely wondering.
Are you deaf? I said.
I said. 换方式重复 repeating in another way.
All I'm trying to say is.
All I'm suggesting is.
I mean.
By which I mean.
What I'm trying to say is.
What I'm getting at is.
What I'm driving at is.
What I meant was.
What I mean is.
What I'm suggesting is.
The point I'm suggesting is that.
And that means.
That is to say.
In other words.
Let me put it another way.
Or you could say.
To put it another way.
If I can re-express that.
If I can rephrase what I've just said.
Or rather.
Or better.
Perhaps I could make that clearer by saying.
Perhaps it would be clearer to say.
Perhaps it would be more to the point if I said.
If I could restate my point, I think it would be more accurate to say.
Basically, it's all a question of.
Look at it this way.